off with a mega exclusive news break on this bulletin. It's a big win for India as UNSC has now declared Abdul Rehman Makki as a globally designated terrorist. India has now beaten China at UNSC as UNSC has listed Abdul Rehman Makki as a globally designated terrorist following removal of technical hold by China. China removed its technical hold, paving way for Abdul Rehman Makki to be listed in UNSC 1267 committee as globally designated terrorist. China was pushing it for over 6 months and it was a challenge for the incumbent government to ensure partner countries remain in favour. And now Abdul Rehman Makki has been declared as a globally designated terrorist by the UNSC, and it's a big win for India. Remember, China was pushing and supporting Abdul Rehman Makki, but now he has been declared as a globally designated terrorist. CNN News 18's Anand is joining us to give us more details on this. Anand, over to you.
Morning to our viewers and morning Anjali. Abdul Rehman Makki is the mastermind behind 26/11. He is the one who, along with Hafiz Saeed, plotted the 26/11 Mumbai attacks, and India has been wanting him designated as a terrorist and wanting that the world identify him as a terrorist for a long time. It's been, and China has been delaying it for quite some time. It's been blocked for a while. See, it's 2011 that the incident happened. By 2012, we had presented multiple dossiers and also named the masterminds, including Hafiz Saeed and Abdul Rehman Makki. China is the one which had been putting in technical holds and blocking it all this while, and it kept getting pushed by every 6 months. So along with Masood Azhar, Makki was also somebody who was getting sheltered by China because in the UNSC, China was exercising the veto at the behest of Pakistan. But the biggest aspect is that both US and India had declared him terrorist under the respective democratic laws. He's got a bounty of more than $2 million on his head. And he was running his terror tanzeem and the terror factory. He is running this factory of jihad, operating out of Pakistani soil, also moving into Afghanistan for a while, and also and traveling to some of the other nations in the Middle East where he had found safe passage and haven. But now that he's designated a globally he's been globally designated a terrorist. The biggest advantage now is that wherever he goes now, there will be eyes, and he can be a red corner notice can be issued against him, and he can be identified. And the local police in that region, if they are cooperative with India, they can help his arrest or him being nabbed. So that means if India can prove his existence or his presence in Pakistan, then it becomes a bigger challenge for Pakistan because they'll immediately face FATF sanctions if there is proof that Makki is on Pakistani soil. Anywhere else he goes, India then can exercise its diplomatic contacts and then and put the relevant pressure or perhaps the relevant use the relevant equations with that particular nation to have Makki arrested and then work towards his extradition and him being brought back onto Indian soil to face justice. He is the mastermind. A lot of the terror activities which are happening, the training camps which are run, the plotting of terror and this entire waging of a proxy war on Indian soil by the Pakistani establishment has been via outfits like the Jamaat-ud-Dawa, which have been the fronts, the benign fronts for the Lashkar-e-Taiba. So that's why Abdul Rehman Makki's being designated is a huge win for India. Bigger than that, it's a big letdown for Pakistan because now it realizes that even the Chinese are giving up on Pakistan because so far it was China which was giving it protective shield cover. But now if China has let go of this technical hold on Makki, that means it's a big warning for Pakistan that it is running out of allies.
Anand, time and again we've seen China backing terrorists who are based in Pakistan. So with Abdul Rehman Makki now being designated as a global terrorist and China paving way for him to be designated as a globally designated terrorist, now will the other terrorists which China was backing till now, can we see some action against them as well?
It's a stage-wise manner. It's not going to happen so soon, and China is not going to relent. It's also about the utility. One must remember that a lot of these terror tanzeems are also acting as mercenaries to try and give cover fire or protection for the CPEC projects in the deep, Khyber regions and in Gilgit-Baltistan. So it was these terror tanzeems and their cadre that were moved in there as foot soldiers or ground workers and as security personnel. That's the reason why the Jaish-e-Mohammad's Masood Azhar gets a cover. Interestingly, that Jaish-e-Mohammed is globally designated a terrorist organization, but Masood Azhar, there has been a technical hold or a block that's been exercised by China because the Jaish sends its cadre as mercenaries to try and protect and patrol the entire CPEC construction and projects there, so that Pakistan does not have to put its own police and army and also the rangers. So this is how these tanzeems are working. They're all working on the bids thrown by the Chinese in terms of the money they need these and then they use those the money collected for providing these cadre to train the cadre that will come into India to carry out terrorist activities. So if Makki's utility is no longer there for China, or there has been global pressure for China to act on terror organizations, and significant amount of pressure has been built on the right forum, and China wants an image correction, and that's perhaps one of the reasons why it's lifted the technical hold. None of this comes at a particular, and there are geopolitical equations also. So clearly there has to be some give for China for it to have released the hold on Makki. Or perhaps it could no longer push it, and it was seeing the narrative slip away from it. China needs a huge image correction globally because of the COVID crisis, because of its expansionism, and overall the global quotient or goodwill of China on the wane. This would perhaps help China show that it is indeed serious on acting against terror, and that line between good terror and bad terror is now slowly getting diffused or erased. There is also a significant threat for China that these cadre of Makki are also training the ETIM, that is the terrorists for the East Turkestan independence movement. They may be moving in from Afghanistan to these terror camps that are being run by Makki on the borders of Pakistan and Afghanistan, or somewhere in Balochistan. And if they have found that intelligence there, it is motivation enough for the Chinese to try and send a warning message to Pakistan saying, don't train terrorists to come on to unleash terror on Chinese soil. So there are multiple ways to look at why China would have released this technical hold, but to expect it to release its technical hold on other terrorists too so soon, perhaps that would not be wise. We'll have to wait and watch, and more pressure will have to be built on the Chinese, and for them to understand that Pakistan is a failed state and their investments there, however long they have been, are not going to yield any result. It's only going to bleed China more.
All right, Anand. We also have defense expert A.K. Siwat joining us on this story. Sir, good morning. Sir, so UNSC has declared Abdul Rehman Makki as a global terrorist now, and it's a big win for India. So why do you think China has released the technical hold on this terrorist?
You see, first of all, this is a big win. Abdul Rehman Makki is now being declared as an international terrorist, and the technical hold which was being put by the China is being removed now. See, as far as China is concerned, it cannot go for too long. Their own image is at stake. It has been seen that as if they've been supporting the international terrorists. So are they serious in fighting against terrorism, especially against global terrorism? So possibly China can only go up to a certain extent about a particular terrorist. And thereafter, once more information is being shared with the UNSC, and then they realize that it is an exercise in futility, then they remove the technical hold, because otherwise their image will be tarnished in the whole world. The Chinese are not fighting against terrorism, but they are with the terrorists. So that is the biggest problem with, as far as China to concern, their own image is there. And the other 2-3 factors are this: there is no doubt about it that the China has been making use of certain Tanzim organization to give them a protection of China-Pakistan economic corridor, which is going from basically from Pakistan, going from Gilgit-Baltistan down up till Gwadar. So they